When the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations was awarded to Morocco, it promised spectacle, an unforgettable chapter in the history of African football. The lights were brighter, the anticipation electric.
Outstanding. Morocco did a great job in terms of the infrastructure.
But what unfolded was something no one could have predicted.
The referees are not at the level of the show.
What was meant to be a celebration of champions became a saga of suspense. The final, played on January 18th, was supposed to crown a king. Instead, it unraveled into something far stranger.
58 days later, the news now, Senegal no longer the 2026 Africa Cup of Nations champions. It is now Morocco.
The board has now declared host Morocco as the champions.
Because in every sense that matters, it never truly ended. No victor, no vanquished, just a final stretching beyond the boundaries of time, refusing to be concluded. You see, coming into that game, there was already some controversy brewing. Morocco had had some questionable decisions go their way in the quarterfinal against Cameroon and in the semi-final against Nigeria. So even before the final kicked off, Senegal already had some complaints which they raised before the continent's football governing body, CAF. The Senegalese felt that the home advantage that the Moroccans were getting was too much, so they raised concerns early. Well, that was only the tip of the iceberg. The statement they would go on to make during the match was a much bigger bombshell. But the game started rather quietly, at least on the pitch. Because the stadium was booming with noise in support of the home side. There was barely any Senegalese presence in the crowd, and it already put the Lions of Teranga on the back foot from the start. Even worse was the fact that they came into the game without their captain and one of their best players, Kalidou Koulibaly, as he had been suspended for the game. But the West Africans came in determined to win only their second ever AFCON trophy, and they weren't going to let anything stop them. But Morocco were perhaps even hungrier. Senegal had tasted AFCON success just 5 years prior, but the North Africans had been waiting for 50 years. This hunger from both sides was setting us up for one of the greatest matchups we will ever see, and both sides also had some superstar names to make this a must-watch. On both sides, there were UEFA Champions League winners like Sadio Mane, Achraf Hakimi, Brahim Diaz, Edouard Mendy, and Mbaye. There were also big Premier League and La Liga stars like Idrissa Gueye, Nicolas Jackson, Ismaïla Sarr, Abde Ezzalzouli, Pape Gueye, Malik Diouf, Nayef Aguerd, and Iliman Ndiaye. This was a really star-studded match, and all those stars were ready to give their all on the pitch to bring the trophy home. Early in the first half, Senegal got a corner which was very nearly converted by Pape Gueye. He headed the ball at the back post, but Yassine Bounou made a quick recovery to make a vital save. Shortly after, Abde Ezzalzouli took the ball the other way, storming down the left wing. But his ball into the box was cleared by Malik Diouf, who immediately asked for some calm amongst his teammates. But that calm didn't last long. Just moments after, Ismail Saibari came running towards the box. Thankfully, though, he sliced the ball from outside the box and missed the target completely. And a couple minutes later, the same man was getting on the end of another dangerous ball, only this time, he was miles offside, so it wouldn't even have counted anyway. Senegal started to get really nervous, and it was no surprise that they got the first booking of the night in the 24th minute. Lamine Camara slid recklessly into El Ainaoui, missing the ball completely, and the referee very rightly booked him for that. But just a few minutes after that, the best opportunity of the half fell to Iliman Ndiaye, and the Senegalese would not have asked for it to come to anybody else. The skillful winger found himself in a world of space, but he was unable to find the back of the net with his attempt. Bounou came out, made himself really big, and made a really monumental save. In response to that, Morocco went and created a big opportunity of their own. Abde put a very inviting cross into the box, but Nayef Aguerd just could not get his head on the end of it. Well, no thanks to the missed chances, offside calls, and big saves, the first half ended goalless. These two were inseparable. There were really big moments in the opening period, but absolutely nothing could have prepared us for what was about to come in the second half. Just like in the first half, Senegal got a corner early in the second period, and once again, Pape Gueye got at the end of it. This time, he went for an acrobatic finish, but he just didn't get it right, so it was a rather easy catch for the goalkeeper. But there was nothing easy about what Edouard Mendy had to face just moments after. Bilal El Khanous threaded a very dangerous low cross into the box, which found Ayoub El Kabi, but the striker just wasn't able to open his body up well enough, so he ended up sending the shot wide. That was another golden opportunity gone. Not long after, the striker got yet another chance. This time, it was the tournament's top scorer Brahim Diaz who turned provider, but El Kabi's shot was blocked by the sliding Mamadou Sarr. The ball, however, fell kindly for Abde, who tried to curl the ball into the far corner, but he just didn't get his bearings right. The former Barcelona man would get another bite at it from a Hakimi corner moments later, but he wasn't able to get enough on the volley, so it was a very easy catch for Mendy. At this point, everyone had tried, so perhaps it was time for a kid to have a go. The 17-year-old PSG star Ibrahim Mbaye, who had become Senegal's youngest ever goal scorer in AFCON history in that tournament, was also determined to become the youngest scorer in a final. But his left-footed shot was saved by Bounou. Still, no goal. We were now deep into additional time, with the score still level, and it looked like we were heading to extra time. But then, something happened. Abdoulaye Seck got at the end of a corner kick, headed the ball into the woodwork, and Ismaila Sarr managed to redirect the rebound into the back of the net. Senegal had found the breakthrough in the 5th minute of added time. Surely they had won the game, or so they thought. Their celebrations were cut short by the referee's whistle. He ruled that there was a push on Hakimi in the build-up to the goal, so he disallowed the goal. The Senegalese were fuming and indignant. As far as they were concerned, that touch was negligible and the goal should have stood. But the referee's word is final, right? So the game resumed at 0-0. Surely that meant that we were heading to extra time, right? Well, not so fast. Morocco went the other way and tried to steal the win in the remaining seconds of normal time. Ilais Akomak sent a cross into the box for En-Nesyri, but Mamadou Sarr made a very timely interception to put the ball out for a corner. This was supposed to be the final chance of the game, but it ended up being a moment that turned the entire final on its head and made it a never-ending game. Achraf Hakimi walked over to take the corner, and he put a good cross into the box, but Malik Diouf was the first to get to it. All seemed well at first, but then the referee was called by VAR to the pitch side monitor to review an incident. The referee came back and awarded a very late penalty to Morocco. The stadium went crazy. This was an opportunity to bring home Morocco's first AFCON trophy in 50 years, and it was coming right at the end of the game. Senegal were irate. First, because they didn't think that was enough to give a penalty, but more so because just a couple minutes ago, what they felt was a legitimate goal was disallowed by the referee, and VAR didn't even bother to intervene. Feeling so hard done by, Pape Thiaw, the Senegal coach, ordered his players to walk off the pitch in protest. He had seen enough and was fed up. As far as he was concerned, the officiating that night had not been fair to his team. His boys walked off the pitch and straight down the tunnel. Only Sadio Mane stayed. The former Liverpool man was there trying to keep the peace and trying his very best to appeal to his teammates to come out and finish the game. They didn't listen, at least not at first. The game was suspended. The whole world was watching and waiting. And during this time, there was also a massive clash happening in the stands between the underrepresented fans of Senegal and the home fans of Morocco. Eventually, Mane succeeded in persuading his teammates to come out, finish the game, and, in his words, play like men. Well, after a 21-minute delay, the final finally resumed with Brahim Diaz standing behind a penalty to pretty much crown Morocco champions. But the Real Madrid man went and made an absolute mess of it. Everyone was expecting him to pick his spot and smash the ball into the back of the net and end the game. But he instead went for a cheeky Panenka, and it was the easiest catch for Mendy, who hadn't even bothered diving. Brahim was given a stern talking to by his coach at full time, and you could see some tears welling up in his eyes. But as far as Senegal were concerned, justice had been served. And for them, the bigger justice came in the 4th minute of extra time. The Villarreal man Pape Gueye took the ball from the midfield and just kept running towards the Morocco box. And then, just at the edge of it, he unleashed a left-footed rocket into the top right corner of Bounou's goal. This one stood. No VAR intervention, no protests, nothing illegal. We finally had the opening goal of the game more than 2 hours after kickoff. And that was enough. Brahim Diaz tried to make amends by getting Morocco back on level terms moments later, but his right-footed shot from the edge of the box did not worry Mendy much. In the following moments, Abde created 2 sensational chances for En-Nesyri. One was a header into the path of the former Sevilla man, which was caught by Mendy, and the other was a cross from further out which was headed off target by the striker. In the second half of extra time, Morocco knocked even harder. They hit the crossbar from a corner kick and were unable to make anything of the rebound. But interestingly, despite Morocco's persistence and dominance, the biggest opportunity of extra time fell to Senegal. Ismaila Sarr played in Sherif Ndiaye, whose initial shot was saved by Bounou, but the save put the ball back in his path, and with a gaping goal and absolutely no one to stop him, he put the ball wide. But luckily for him, he didn't end up regretting it, as Pape Gueye's early extra time goal was enough to win Senegal the trophy for just the second time in their history.
Senegal выигрывает! У марокканцев дома! Выдающийся французский актер, сенегалец по крови, ликует!
Under the Rabat reign, the West African Giants were crowned champions in the presence of the CAF and FIFA presidents. But the story didn't end there. Stories of what had happened in the stadium were told late into the night and into the following day. And, well, the hosts were not very happy with the outcome. So the next day, the Royal Moroccan Football Federation announced that they were going straight to the CAF and FIFA to file a complaint against Senegal because the players walking off the pitch before the penalty, in their own words, affected the normal development of the match and the performance of the players. At that moment, much attention wasn't paid to the complaints. Senegal had already begun their trophy parades on the streets of Dakar. And as far as everyone was concerned, the game had already been played, Senegal had won, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. Well, everyone was wrong. On the 28th of January 2026, 10 days after the final was played, CAF started to mete out punishments and fines.
Confederation of African Football condemns the unacceptable behaviour of some players and officials during the Africa Cup of Nations final between Morocco and Senegal.
The Senegal coach was suspended for 5 games. Iliman Ndiaye and Ismaila Sarr were banned for 2 games, while the Senegalese Football Federation was slapped with a really heavy fine. And the Moroccans weren't left out of it. Hakimi and Saibari were also suspended, while the Moroccan Federation was fined. But more significantly, their complaints against Senegal were dismissed by CAF, so this time, everyone thought it was really over. But once again, everyone was wrong. 5 days later, Morocco said they would appeal the decision from CAF, and they did exactly that. But it all went quiet for a long time. Then, on the 17th of March, news broke that threw the entire footballing world into disbelief.
The board has now declared host Morocco as the champions.
Morocco did indeed appeal, and after a lengthy deliberation, the CAF appeal board came to the conclusion that Senegal had forfeited the match when they walked off the pitch, which according to the rulebook meant that a 3-0 victory had to be awarded to the other team. As a result, the trophy was instantly stripped of Senegal, and Morocco was declared AFCON champions almost exactly 2 months after the final was played. Shocked, the Senegalese Football Federation called the decision a travesty and said that they were going to appeal. And well, they did appeal on the 25th of March. Considering it took 2 months for the first appeal to yield result, I guess it's safe to say that this final isn't over just yet. And it doesn't feel like it is because the CAS recently gave Morocco a deadline of the 7th of May to present their defense against the case filed by Senegal, so there is certainly more to still watch out for here. With another AFCON set to kick off about a year from now, it is rather interesting that we still haven't reached a permanent conclusion on the last one. But who do you think deserves that trophy? Who really deserves to have the tag of 2025 AFCON champions? Senegal or Morocco? Tell me what you think in the comments, and don't forget to give me your reasons. And well, since we're preparing for another major international tournament, go check out this video of how World Cup hero turned into his country's biggest outcast in just a matter of years. It is the story of Hakan Şükür, the scorer of the fastest goal in World Cup history, and it will absolutely blow your mind.